Hello, welcome back. This is the Land of Kakiak. I am Laurel. I homeschool 3 boys and we use the Robinson curriculum for the base of our homeschool education. I am finishing up my math sequence series. We left off on 4th grade. Okay, so if you have been following along in the series, I started us in the preschool years and we have gradually moved up. We've had a little bit of choose your own adventure. Do you just want to stick with math fact, study, just like the flashcard use? Do you want to have a minimal curriculum, like some worksheets, maybe some abacus use? Do you want to have a full curriculum? I've been electing to use Ray's Arithmetic for one of my sons. He just could handle a little bit more, and so he enjoyed it. So we went with that. Age groups or these grades are just estimations, no pressure. But so if they have mastered their math facts from 0 to 12, all operations, then Dr. Robinson says it's time to start with Saxon 5-4. So I have that to talk about today. The other choose your own adventure direction you could take that I provide in my math sequence is to continue on in the Ray's Arithmetic series. In the next book, so if they've completed Ray's new primary arithmetic, they could go on to Ray's new intellectual arithmetic. Let me talk a little bit about both. Oh, I should say, if you don't have the math sequence yet, then I'll link it down below and just go grab it. It's a free printable and there'll be links to these resources within the document. So everything that's underlined on here is a link. So you don't have to go searching this stuff down. Okay, so, and there's one more thing that I'm going to add to my sequence. I have it here today and I just now realized I didn't put it on my list. We have Saxon 5-4. So I was trying to find, affordable resources, and the Saxon books are a little bit spendy. So I just went ahead and bought a used Saxon Math Homeschool edition. Looks like this. Somebody else had already written 4th grade on it. I didn't actually write that. It came like that. Somebody agrees with me. This is about a 4th grade level book. Don't let the grade level or the age thing trip you up. I feel like it still trips me up in my mind because, I'm programmed. I'm a product of my upbringing and culture and environment as well. It's one thing to know things. It's another thing to believe it. You know what I mean? So I'm still trying to undo some of my own programming. But this book, I like it. I don't have the, classroom version to compare it to. I believe the Robinson curriculum says not to do like the warm-ups and stuff like that are included in this, just do the lesson practice. So my son, we bought him just one of these. I think we got these at like Walmart or something. They're really cheap. These little graph paper books. I think they're cute because they're just so I don't know, I just like simple stuff. And he just works it every day, and then his handwriting, this is what I'm so glad that Saxon told me, or Robinson told me, that to have kids correct their own stuff, because please, Lord, don't make me read his handwriting. Any other parents have a hard time reading one of their kids' handwriting? Okay, I know I'm not alone on that. Okay, so he has the book. He just sticks this right in to mark his spot. It always looks like this. And then there are answer solution manual things here. And so he just checks his own work. And then I do just check in with him daily to see how many he's missed or whatever. So I will say, just like story time, that so he is, my son who's doing this Section 5-4 he's like a 6th grader. He's 11. And we actually started this in 5th grade for him. So, I'm sure there's a lot of you who maybe the pandemic threw things off for you guys. My son was in public school, and they always told me he was at grade level, but I was personally not happy with what I was seeing. I was seeing that he didn't know his math facts, and that I was seeing that it was taking him a really long time to get through his homework. And I tried talking to the principal and his teacher, and what can I do? Just tell me what to do. I just really thought I was like the ideal parent. I was like, please, I really want my child to do well. I'm willing to do whatever with him at home. Tell me what to do. And they literally would not tell me what to do. They would not tell me anything. Well, I do concede that I have not been on the other side of being a public school teacher. And so there might be more to that than I know, but it was not explained to me. Anyways, then the pandemic hit. The kids were all out of school. Our school chose not to move forward. There was no new learning, no new information whatsoever. They were just literally reviewing. It was a humongous waste of time. And then I pulled them out. I was like, this... I'm sure a bunch of you pulled your kids out after the pandemic. I want to say our little school, we live in a really small town. It's only like a population of 10,000 here. And our little town's, his elementary school he was going to, I want to say, they only had like 300 or 400 kids in the school, and something like 100 kids were pulled out. So it was like a quarter of the kids were pulled out or something. One of the teachers told me. And I was in that boat. Anyways, so then we actually came home and we started using Abeka, which was just way more than he could. It was not successful. We'll say it was not successful. And him being alone in his room was not a recipe for success at all. And we never saw him. It was really depressing. And then he just wasn't doing well. So then we started doing RC, and he like tested into like a higher, I forget what the Saxon placement was, but it was higher. But I knew he didn't know his math facts, and he just hadn't been doing well, and everything had been really inconsistent. I was like, let's just start with 5-4. And he'd been doing it a while, and I just realized he did not know his math facts. So we just like stopped. And that's when I actually created the multiplication and division workbooks that I saw on my TPT store. And we went back. I just started plugging holes. I started realizing he didn't automatically know that 3 and 7 was 10. He didn't automatically know that 64 plus 6 is 70. He didn't have that bonded number automaticity, that word. So we just spent a good portion of 5th grade going back and trying to fill holes, and I feel okay with that. It's just work that needed to be done, and it doesn't matter. It's better to do it now than later. And I remember I was watching a video by the Handmade Homeschooler, I think, and she was a public school teacher at some point, but she gave me a really comforting study that said that kids, as long as their brains are ready for the information, that they can like cover vast amounts of schooling very quickly. So that just really, whenever I'm feeling like, oh my gosh, my child's behind in math or whatever, I remember that study said it really just, when their brains are ready for the information, if they're motivated, they can cover that ground very quickly. And so don't stress. If you're in that boat, don't stress. When they're ready, if they're properly motivated, if they really want to catch up, they'll just go for it, So, so we stopped 5-4. We went back to math facts and like bonded numbers, and then we started 5-4 all over again. Okay, so if you wanted to choose Adventure B, I have raised the Arithmetic series as another avenue that you could take. So I've already bought the entire Raise Arithmetic series. I think that goes all the way up to, I think it's an 8th grade level. And my younger son is doing so well in the Raise series right now. We're in the first book in the series. But if he like really likes the second book, and if it's working for him, I may just keep him in it all the way up through, whenever the series runs out, and then test him into see what book in Saxon he tests into. That's just an area I haven't decided on that particular student yet, but I feel good either way. I think Saxon's good. I like Raise so far, so let's see. Oh, the other thing, I did have a manipulative, the magnetic fraction. This actually has been helpful. So when the boys, when they get into Ray's new intellectual arithmetic, which is the second book, they do get into fractions and stuff. I think it is nice to have something, like this. And then the Saxon, I know my son has pulled these out before as well. And kind of like, it's one of those things that they don't use it repeatedly, but like once they get that concept down and they see it and it's helpful to them to that point, it's always there for them to use, just like the abacus. They can always use the abacus or the tiles if they need them. But then it does become a point where you notice that they don't use them anymore. They don't need them. But I think they're nice to have. Like, they're cheap enough and you can hand them down to the next child. And I'm like really looking forward to, I've been thinking about this, like making little bundles of homeschool goods to take to our local thrift store. Okay, so do you want to continue on with Raise? Do you want to start into Saxon? Is there another math option that you would use that you love? I've heard lots of good things about Rod and Staff. There's so many out there. I actually try not to look at too many options because it just gets overwhelming. Okay, so let me know what math you love, and do you love vintage, the tried and trues? Do you like the latest and greatest? Oh, what's that other one? I was interested in Singapore math. I thought that was interesting, but I found it to be the A and B I found to be a little confusing. If anybody uses Singapore math, I am interested to know what your thoughts are on that. Would you leave me a comment? Because I am interested. Okay, thank you everybody, and I will talk to you next time.